What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball. So I feel like there's been kind of a consensus around free agency for the most part, and I've been one of the people pushing this, but I feel like it's just overall been pretty good. Like, I haven't seen too many moves where I go and like really raise my eyebrows or anything like that. Like, there's maybe a couple here and there, but not, it's mostly in like the draft or like other things. I haven't really seen that many odd like free agency moves. And so today an article was posted called "The 5 Sneaky Bad Moves from the 2024 NBA Free Agency Period," and so I kind of want to take a look at that. Hey, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. All right, let's get into it. Alrighty, 5 sneaky bad moves from the 2024 NBA free agency period. You know, I was just scrolling through Bleacher Report, I was sitting, eating an omelet, reading and stuff, and I came across, like, this article, and I was like, huh, interesting. I see Franz Wagner on the cover. Maybe I can go make a video out of this. Why not? I've already recorded 2 or 3 today, and I was like, hell, let's go do another one. Why not? Because I find this interesting. I'm wondering if I can either A, apply some logic to these, because I don't know if there's really been that many bad ones, or 2, or B, I guess in this case, I'm tired. I don't know how to talk at this point. Can we kind of dive into this and maybe see what the logic was in some capacity, or maybe it was a bad move and we didn't give it enough attention. But anyway, without further ado, let's get into this. DeMar DeRozan to the Sacramento Kings. Why is that a bad move? As the West got even more daunting around them, the Sacramento Kings had to do something. DeMar is far from a perfect fit. I tend to agree with that. More on that momentarily, but he might have been the best, most affordable talent upgrade on the market. Yeah, that's my logic in itself. Like, yeah, is it like the best move ever? Does it really move them up a ton? Not necessarily. You get a really clutch duo out of DeMar and De'Aaron Fox. You get an instant upgrade on the team over Harrison Barnes. So, like, I don't know what else they were supposed to do, and you want them to try to probably be competitive, so I don't know. They didn't really give up anything to get him. The Kings nabbed him in a sign-in trade. Yep. They got that contract. A third offensive initiator who doesn't overlap at all positionally with the Kings' incumbent pair of Fox and Sabonis. Yep. The level of offensive dynamism, that is a weird way to phrase that, he provides as an individual bucket getter. Team isn't as simple as totaling up its players' points per game. Low volume 3-point shooter. Yeah, it's a lot better than what it was. Yeah, the 3-point attempts are a lot higher than what they used to be, and then you're still getting 33% of it. I mean, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but I don't know, it's not necessarily awful either. But I think the point more so is they want him to operate as more of a facilitator and stuff, because that's where he's kind of excelled more than anyone else, because DeMar DeRozan's a sneaky, really good just play initiator and stuff like that. So playing off him and Sabonis can be a smart thing. Don't forget the 3-time All-Star is also entering age 35. Okay, yeah. I don't know, you kind of contradict yourself in the first part here. Who's ever writing this, I don't really know. It doesn't really matter. Grant Hughes, I appreciate the time you put into this, but what else were they supposed to do? Do you just sit and wait around for some other move that may or may not happen? And given how the structure of the league and the rules and how they work at this point, it's not easy to go out and make these trades. The fact that you were able to make this one makes sense, and you could add a talent upgrade, you could add a leader to the team. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad move at all. I think it's an absolute win for Sacramento. And I mean, it seems like that's somewhere that he wants to play. Obviously, he's a West Side dude at the end of the day. So going back towards home, Kings get a player in a position that they need. He's a good player. He's a good leader. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad move. I'm waiting for the Franz Wagner one, but Obi Toppin bags $58 million. Interesting. Obi Toppin played all 82 games last year. Yep. Blew past his previous career high by hitting 40% of his triples and fit perfectly into Indiana Pacers' up-tempo offensive style. Probably could just stop it there, right? A legitimate postseason contributor who averaged 24 minutes per game. In their surprise conference final. Yep, he's only 26 years old. Toppin deserved his 4-year, 58, but should the Pacers have been the team to give it to him? Okay, if you're about to tell me they should be developing Jarris Walker, I don't know where to go with this. Indy also maxed out Pascal Siakam. Yup. It got Jarris Walker in the same positional group. Yup. Okay, blah, 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 blah. Indy kept topping using bird rights. What about Walker? And what about the opportunity costs? Okay, I'm a big proponent of opportunity costs. For those of you that don't take economics, it's basically how do you balance all the assets that you have in the perfect harmony that you can. You could either have a 9 out of 10 Pascal Siakam with a 1 out of 10 Obi Toppin, or is a 6 out of 10 Pascal Siakam and a 4 out of 10 Obi Toppin more beneficial to the team in essence, right? And so they're saying okay, what else could they have gotten? if all it took to sign Simone Fontecchio was 2 years, $16 million from the Detroit Pistons, the Pacers definitely should have gone down that road instead. How can we say that though? We just said he fit perfectly into the Indiana Pacers up-tempo offensive style. I guess I don't understand that. Like, I don't know. I think this was a good deal all said and done. Like, let's just run the calculator real quick, right? Because I don't want to do the math right now. So $14.5 million for a guy that was getting you. What are we getting for points per game out of him this year? Can we pull up Obi Toppin really quick? I'm doing this live because I feel like you guys probably don't care if I do it live at the end of the day. All right, so let's sort by this. He got you 10 points a game. He got you 4 rebounds and assists, like mostly a bench score, right? Shot 40% from 3. He's athletic as all shit. In the playoffs, he was absolutely killer with TJ McConnell. Like, we might be coming into something right here. He's a fine athletic specimen. He can switch on to multiple positions. Like, I don't understand. Like, if something already works, just like keep going with it. It's a young dude. You went and traded for him for a reason. So like, why wouldn't you keep him? I don't understand what we're saying. Like, it seems like they're just making an argument that, like, Jarris Walker, if Walker grows enough to deserve more minutes, it'll be hard to simultaneously give them. But, like, that's a problem for down the road, you know? Like, if Jarris Walker looks good, like, I'd rather be in that situation than lose Obi Toppin, figure out if Jarris Walker is good. And if Jarris Walker isn't good, then I've just got, like, fuck all, right? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know. The Pacers could find themselves in an awkward position for rooting for Walker to seize a role at the expense of a guy they just handed. You can do both. You just want all of your players to be good. It's not a problem to have more good players. You just figure it out later then. Like, and if Jarris Walker starts looking good and he's getting minutes, hell, maybe you can trade him or something. Maybe you can trade Obi Toppin. But like, it doesn't matter. You still re-sign your guy. Next up, Franz Wagner's max deal. Okay, so I'll already say this one, I'll hear the argument for him. It's a lot of money. I've got points to help the Orlando Magic out, but I want to read it nonetheless, just because I think it's probably interesting. Franz Wagner was a key reason the Magic, were actually good this year. But what was the rush on giving him a full max of 5 years, $270 million? That is a lot of money. For perspective here, 275, is that 50? Yeah, 54. Okay, cool. $54 million is a lot for Franz Wagner, a guy that something more than a fringe all-star. That's probably where I see him kind of tapping out. But Wagner is not and is unlikely to even be the best player on his team as long as Banchero is around. I don't know why that necessarily matters. While the status doesn't disqualify him from earning the max, most teams go that high for more than one player. If it does, blah, 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 blah. Yep, Scotty Barnes, Cade Cunningham got one. They're probably better players. That's probably true. If Wagner is really that errant from deep for another season, it's hard to imagine. Yep, I don't disagree with that. So yeah, basically Franz Wagner, not a good shooter. He doesn't necessarily create the best, at least for a max contract type guy, right? There's limitations. He's still a really good basketball player, right? The argument for Orlando is the fact that not many free agents are coming to the Orlando Magic, right? We just know that. It's not a desirable place for free agents to go. Like, money-wise, maybe, right? Like, that's how you got, like, a KCP or something like that, but you're not getting big-time free agents. And you're probably not at the point where you're going to be tanking towards the bottom of the draft anymore, so you're like, let's just sign the good young players that we have and kind of figure it out later. But I don't disagree. Like, do we think he deserved a max? Not necessarily. Maybe you tell him to prove it a little bit more. I don't necessarily know, but it's a sign of good faith that, like, yeah, you played well. He plays really hard, right? Like, good culture fit, it seems like. We love Franz at the end of the day. It's just, was it really worth $54 million a year? Like, not in his current state, no, but maybe you bank on continued development and everything, right? And, like, obviously players can get better. You can work on jump shots. You can work on creating space and things like that, and trying to find a better way to operate around Banchero. So I'm not necessarily concerned about that. It is just more so, like, yeah, it's a lot of money for him right now. Like, do we really think he's earned that next spot when he hasn't really even, like, scraped, like, all-star level status yet? That seems a little excessive. But again, the new CBA and everything, the new way contracts work, it's all about saving your players and keeping your players on your team as much as possible. This ensures that you do that. So I don't know. I guess I can't fault him too much at the end of the day, but I won't disagree that for right now, it seems like a bit of an overpay. What do we got next? James Harden returns to the Clippers. So before I even read it, I don't know who was going to give James Harden some money. Like, I genuinely don't know who else that would have been. And the Clippers would have just lost out on all this like cap space and everything if they didn't resign him because they were already over the luxury tax and everything. So it's either you bring James Harden back, they're the only team that can actually pay him, or you just don't get anything at all. You get a minimum contract player instead. So I kind of find it hard to argue against. I'd rather probably just have James Harden, but I don't know. Maybe that's up for you. Just for clarification, the Clippers didn't have the flexibility to sign anyone of James Harden's quality in free agency, and losing him for nothing would have made him an already iffy decision. Yep, absolutely. Yep. Okay, so we're all in the same place. Plus, how bad can a 2-year submax contract really be? Yeah, that's kind of my point, right? So this year for the Clippers is really going to be a lot of like, let's see how much we can do. If things start going really bad for whatever reason, they've set themselves up really well to where after this year, they can blow stuff up and really like acquire some assets back because they've got a lot of tradable contracts of players that are desirable to other teams, most likely. So it's like, okay, you can kind of get yourself out of this situation if you need to and still try to be competitive this year because you want to sell tickets for the new stadium that cost you like a bunch of money. A bunch of money. By the way, you guys should go look up that video of like the inside of the stadium. It looks awesome. They've got like that mile-long like Jumbotron in there. That's awesome. Signing Harden at the annual rate of $35 million was a blatant overpay. Was it really, considering like the amount of production you get out of James Harden at this point? So for his age, maybe, because what are we? We're at 34 years old now. What did we get out of James Harden this year? 16 points a game, sharing the court with that many other people. 8.5 assists, 5 rebounds, like still shot 38%. I don't know. My phone is also ringing right now. I'm going to go take that. All right, I'm back. What were we talking about? James Harden not being worth $35 million or something? I'm glad I highlighted it. Yeah, so I don't think it's a blatant overpay. One made much more damaging in the light of losing Paul George. I can't read, over money. I don't know. Like, it's just like, what else were you supposed to do? Just nothing? I don't know. Losing Harden for nothing would have been a bad look. Fear of that outcome must have been a major motivator. I mean, yeah, it's just you either get him or nothing. So, like, what is the alternative? I don't understand what the alternative. It's kind of one of those situations again. That's what I'm saying. Pretty good offseason overall. Like, there's not a lot of complaining to be done, all said and done. Miles Bridges re-ups with the Hornets. Okay, this one is kind of weird. This one's kind of weird, and I'm sure that they'll kind of touch on it. Here's my thing. When I did my ideal offseason video, I didn't bring Miles Bridges back to the team, and you Hornets fans lost it. And y'all a little bit crazy for it. I'm going to just say so. And here's the thing. I understand Miles Bridges is good at basketball. I do. You guys need to realize, you Charlotte Hornets fans, y'all have been so bad for so long because you have one of the worst cultures in basketball, which we're hoping is changing. We're hoping it's changing. They've made some good moves so far. This one a little bit weird, but some good moves over the past like couple months and stuff like that. New ownership, new people making decisions. Cool. Let's hope it keeps going that way, right? But like you've had all these like poor culture fits in this team, in this organization for so long, and Miles Bridges might have been the epitome of it. Like I hate to tell you guys, like he's done some pretty bad things, and you could say, oh, he paid his time and everything. Like, what? Like, who cares, man? Like, I don't know, man. Like, dude's not out there like doing great things for people or whatever, and like he's a good player, but like, why bring in kind of the epitome of like bad apples back into the organization? And like, I don't know how they evaluated, like, because he got what, 3 years 75, right? Yeah, 3 years 75. I don't know how you got to $25 million with him. Who were you bidding with? Like, I guess I don't understand. But here's the thing, like, they could very well just trade him. And I have to imagine that's what they're going to do, is just trade him. And that way you don't lose him for nothing. So I can't judge it too hard right now. And that's why I'm not going like crazy over it. I'm more so talking about you Hornets fans that are like, we need Miles Bridges back. I'm like, no, I promise you don't need him. You don't want him. Like, you need to go a different direction. I promise you. If you want to have any success, like, this is not about making an 8 seed. This is about eventually not becoming the laughingstock of the NBA. That's the kind of stuff you're dealing with here. You need culture. You need a good culture, and Miles Bridges is not going to help you with that. I'm sorry. Let's agree at the starting point that trade has to be the okay. Well, yeah. Why else would a rebuilding team that refreshed everything over the last year, ownership, front office, head coach, want anything to do with a problematic holdover from the previous regime? Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, article. I appreciate it. If the Hornets can flip Bridges for a positive value, yep, then it looks fine. Completely agree. Completely agree. Yep, dude was going to get a max extension, and then what did he do? Felony? Maybe I shouldn't say these words. Maybe YouTube suppresses me if I say stuff like that. I don't know. I've never been in this territory before. I'm still a new YouTuber. I haven't even been on this for a year yet. Understandably charged his market. Yeah, he pleaded no contest too. So he was like, all right, my bad. I did it. Like, okay, so he gets a cheaper contract, yada, yada, yada. Setting those questions aside, it's also worth wondering how the Hornets determined he was worth $25 million. I'm sure they just did like, okay, dude, just you got to sign with us. That's what they demanded. And they're like, okay, hopefully we can flip him. At the time of his signing in Charlotte, only Detroit and Utah had the resources to come anywhere close to that number. And yeah, they clearly were not very interested. And Utah was certainly not going to do it. Like, that's just not how their organization works. And Detroit went and got other people that were like good vets, right? So that was the idea. It seems like the Hornets won a bidding war that had no other participants. If that's true, it suggests Bridges isn't currently viewed as a $25 million player. Unless that changes, Charlotte will have made a mistake. Okay, I agree with you on this one. Yep, if a trade doesn't happen where you get something else in return, I completely agree with you in terms of that. So yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys think. I know this was kind of supposed to be like a negatively toned video that I tried to turn a little bit positive at points to give you guys more insight. That's kind of the idea with it. But at the end of the day, I don't know, man. We're just out here making YouTube videos. It's a slow season, right? I don't want to just put out bullshit things, but I thought these were worth talking about. So you guys let me know at the end of the day, were there any moves that like really perplexed you? None that really come to mind. Maybe the Valanciunas one to Washington. That's an interesting free agency move. I would have said the Denny move. That's not really a free agency like move though. Nonetheless, like, I'm trying to think. I don't know. There's not really a ton of other ones that really trip me out. The Franz Wagner one was kind of weird in my opinion, but otherwise, no, I'm not tripping too much. But hey, you guys let me know in the comments down below, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much.